Rahul Venkit. Rahul is a Puneite. He is a hardcore Punekar because he went to Loyola School. He began his career with the Indian Express in Pune and he was a frontline reporter. So I now hand it over to Rahul and he will tell you a little about what he's been doing in his journalism career, and then you can shoot questions.
Well, thank you very much, Rahul, for the introduction. You can hear me fine right at the back. Great. So yeah, 2000 is when I started my career with the Indian Express in Pune. I was working with them first they had a news supplement for the youth called Channel Y, and that was back in the day. I started working for them, and at that time, it was less strict. Your roles were defined by your talent, not really by your training as such. If you were good, you were given the chance, you prove yourself, and you go ahead, run ahead and do it. So I was reporting at first, but then I started making pages, I was subbing, we were using Quark Express back then. And I used to love to write, and I was blind to office politics, which I think helped me in a big way. Xinhua News Agency, which is basically the Chinese government wire service, like the Reuters or AP, AFP of China. They were hiring, they have deep pockets, and they were interested in me because obviously I had Chinese experience already and a fair bit of international experience, and then I joined their newsroom. So right now I'm basically a senior editor there, and I train a group of, they have a lot of journalists. I mean, when it comes to China, it's always big numbers, so they have 100 journalists across Europe, and they have, in Brussels itself, they have 36 journalists. To put that in perspective, Reuters, which is the next largest international media house, has 12. So 3 times the number. When the Chinese do it, they do it big.
In Brussels, Xinhua has 36.
Yeah.
Reuters has 12.
12, yeah.
Okay, so in comparison, how much matter do you generate? Who are your customers, and who actually
subscribes to Chinese news? It's a very good question. So basically, compared to Reuters, AFP, Xinhua News is it's definitely a cheaper package. While now the Chinese media machine back in the mainland is massive. They have national newspapers, and they have provincial newspapers, then they have vernaculars. And these are huge, the numbers are as big as India, basically. So the print industry, I mean, India and China might be the only 2 countries in which the print industry is booming, soaring. Advertising revenue, it depends, but the industry itself is doing pretty well. So whatever Xinhua publishes is considered the gospel truth in China. It's like the ultimate source of news, so blindly all these local provincial newspapers can reproduce it, So Xinhua, obviously Chinese is its biggest department. They also publish in all the UN languages. Now internationally, I would say only Latin America, a few countries, because they have a Spanish department. Southeast Asia, not anymore because of the whole diplomatic spats. Africa, massively, because it's cheap news again. So a cheaper, more humble newspaper can subscribe to their services. And Xinhua, the photography department, is number 1. Their photos, that kind of levels the playing field. Their language doesn't matter, culture doesn't matter, training matters, but you have great photographers there in Xinhua. So in there, and that coupled with the numbers gives them a huge advantage in terms of distribution. So there they compete with the big boys. They're there with Reuters, with AP, AFP. Often even they have like the HD cameras now. They'll do like a discovery style pieces. So and they have their own strategies to kind of move into multimedia in a big way. So Xinhua has its news app, like NDTV does right now, or CNN, IBN, and those are really well subscribed to. And they have the numbers, and then once you have the numbers, the advertisers come, and it becomes its own living organism on its own.